Welcome out to another episode of the 365 Sports Unlimited. I have my sidekick, Val. Val, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Man, that's great. So like I said, this is episode 5, man. We talk about UFC. We bring you 1 hour or so once a week to kind of just update you on what's going on in the UFC. Val, like I said, he's the expert, man. I'm definitely not the expert. I'm still learning. I'm in the learning process. But this is our 5th episode, Val, and we've been kind of hyping up this a fight that's coming up June 12th, right? We've kind of talked a little bit about the fighters, the main card. There's been kind of some changes in the last couple of weeks, and we've kind of let the people know that follow us what's going on and who's going to be fighting. So we have the card, and we've been also letting everybody know that, you know, Val's going to make his predictions because, I mean, Val's the expert, right? Like, he's the expert on here. He's the guy that follows it 24/7. He does the research. He knows the fighters. He goes out and watches some of these fights live when he can. And so, I brought him on. There's a lot of people that love UFC. The sport is growing, right, Val? It's growing.
For sure.
It's growing. And I thought it'd be good for us to kind of give it the 1 hour that it deserves, not just kind of throwing it in and jamming it up with other sports like basketball and baseball. I don't think people really like that. I think the true UFC fans that really follow it and like it really just kind of want to talk about it. And so we're able to bring that. And not just what's coming up in this Saturday's fight, but other stuff that's going on. You know, we got other stuff, other main events that are already coming up in July that we're going to talk about as well. But for tonight, we're definitely going to be bringing out this fight, and Val's going to be making his predictions, and he's going to also let you know why he's going the way he's going. And I'm kind of interested in hearing what he's got, because I have no idea who he's going to pick. We haven't talked. I just know that he was going to make his predictions, but I have no idea who he's going to pick in these fights and why. So just as you're going to hear it, I'm going to hear it as well. And so, Val, man, it's been a week. I know you've been busy down there. You're doing a lot of stuff. How's it been this week for you, man? What you been up to besides, researching this UFC?
So it's good. Yeah. Other than that, man, just other than doing music, I'm working on my house right now. We're fixing up like a studio room for me. We're going to get some, guitars, got drums, keyboard. It's kind of going to be like a studio room,
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, man, I look forward to it. I know you and I have talked about some of the stuff that hopefully you're going to be able to do for us here as far as music-wise for our podcast. I'm excited about that. That's in the works as well. So let's get started with UFC tonight. People are anxious to see, what's going to happen. I'm definitely going to be watching this fight. I know you are as well. So we're just going to be breaking down the main event card. So Val's just going to be making his predictions on the main event. It's preliminaries. Also, there's a lot of good fights on this card, but Val's just making his predictions on the main event. And so let's go ahead and get started with the first fight that you'll talk about, Val, which is Paul Craig. He's 14-4-1. He's going to be fighting, I think it's Hill. Now, we talked a little bit about Hill. Hill's undefeated at 8-0. Doesn't have a lot of fights, professional fights, but the ones that he does have now, he's 8-0. And so just kind of, what do you think about this fight and your prediction?
Yeah, this is going to be the first match of the main card. Going to kick it off with a light heavyweight match, 205, between Craig and Hill. This one's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be awesome. They got a lot of they're like kind of bad blood right now because I think it's a little silly, but because of COVID, the COVID, Hill had dropped out and Craig was talking all this smack, and now Hill says, hey, I'm going to get him. I think he's going to take it to him hard. Craig, he's got some wins. He's got TKOs. He's got submissions, but his opponents, I just don't think they were high enough caliber. I mean, I know he can go the distance. It may be possible that he can tag Hill if he puts him up against the fence, sets him up with something, get some shots. But I do believe that in the end, Hill's going to be too much for him. I think he's going to land some shots on Craig. He might take some feeling out in the beginning. He might have to check for his rhythm, get some timings in. I do think he's going to come on strong and powerful. If he can tag some shots, I think Hill has got my bet. I think on my prediction, I say round 2 by TKO. I think Hill is going to win TKO round 2. The first round, he might do in the first round, but I think maybe he could fill him out. Craig's tough. I want to give him that, that extra inch or whatever there. I think maybe in the first round he might get through, might survive the first. I got Hill TKO second round. That's my prediction.
And wow, and that's a lot for Hill because like I said, he's only got 8 professional fights, right? And so he's gonna go, according to you, he's gonna go 9-0. So that says a lot about Hill and possibly where he could end up. So that's awesome, man. So okay, so you heard it here. The first fight, Val's gonna taking Hill. So now let's go up to the next one, which is Demian, Maia, and Muhammad. Yeah, Maia is 28-10. We talked about him a lot on this podcast. And Muhammad 18-3. Muhammad has the better record. But which way are you going?
See, with this one, I'm pretty sure. Here's what I like to say. Muhammad, he's definitely going to keep it on the feet. I've said it before. Demian Maia, I just want to say it again. Demian Maia, best submission artist in the world. You already know what he's thinking, right? I mean, I feel like Muhammad, his keys to victory, he shouldn't stand too long in the pocket, because if he's in front of Maia for too long, he's going to have to punch in and out real fast. He'll have to try to avoid the takedown. He doesn't want to stand too close to him because once Demian gets that grip on him, that he's going to try to take him down. There's no doubt he'll try to bring the fight to the ground. Maia, he might be able to stand with him a bit, try to look for some openings. As soon as he sees a chance, that he's going to take Muhammad down. I believe Muhammad will be good enough to stay in the fight. I think that he can for sure go the distance, but I got this fight going, Demian Maia by decision. I see this fight going the decision. I think that Muhammad's going to be well-rounded enough and strong enough to maybe avoid some submissions. But I think Demian, if he can get him to the ground, he can control him. And, that's where Damian's world is. He's going to want to take him to the mat. I see Demian, my prediction, Demian decision. Probably. All right. Maybe unanimous decision for the control. I think
you think it goes the distance with Maia getting a decision?
With Maia getting a unanimous decision, because I think he's going to have a lot of control time. I think Maia's going to be able to get him down.
All right. And then, of course, the next one as we move up, as we climb the ladder, right? And the next fight that we'll predict is Leon Edwards. He's 18-3, going up against Nate Diaz, 19-11. Now, we talked a lot about Nate Diaz, right? And he's got 11 losses, but this guy is he just gets after it, right? Didn't care who you are, what you got. He's a brawler, right? He comes at you. But Edwards 18-3 got the better record, but man, Diaz is kind of dangerous. Who do you got in this one?
Oh, this one is great. Both guys really good. Nate Diaz, perfect opportunity for him. He's not even in the rankings right now. So if he wins this, bam, he comes in, he's right and floating in title contention again. I'm gonna say this. Edwards gonna come in. I mean, I see he's the favorite. I said it before. Edwards is most likely faster than Diaz. I think he's gonna need, to land some shots first. Try to get him out of there, because the longer this fight goes, you've seen that Nate Diaz has a lot of resistance. So the longer the fight goes, I think that he'll be able to withstand Edwards' offense. Because we've seen the grittiness, the toughness of Diaz, and I know that Diaz can dig deep and try to get him down. Diaz is going to have to think faster. I feel like Diaz is very crafty. He's a veteran. I believe he'll be able to figure out Edwards' game and pull this win off as the betting underdog. I got Nate Diaz winning this fight by third round TKO.
Wow, I thought you were gonna go with Edwards. I really thought. I said, I looked at that and I said, man, he's gonna go Edwards. I mean, I'm shocked. I really thought you were gonna go Edwards. So you're going Diaz and you're going with a TKO, right? So you're saying Diaz is gonna win it, but not by decision. He's actually gonna knock Edwards out.
I think he's gonna TKO him because Diaz. I think he might have to survive the onslaught, because in the first round, Edwards has already proven that he already said, hey, I'm coming to get him. I'm coming to win. All this. I think Nate Diaz might have to get by the onslaught first, but then that's the later round, maybe in round 2, maybe in round 3. That's when we're going to see that craftiness, that sly veteran that Nate Diaz is. Like, there's a reason why he's not ranked and he's fighting a number 3 guy, could possibly get an opportunity to get a title shot. There's a reason why he's in this position, because he's he's good, and he's he's some would say he's gonna be a legend, a future legend if he's not already. This guy doesn't quit. I think even if Edwards in the beginning might be roughing him up a bit, maybe he's landing faster jabs, maybe he's landing because, like I said, he might be faster. But the longer the fight goes, Nate Diaz is gonna think faster. He'll say, okay, I know this is coming. So Nate Diaz is good at setting something up, and I have said it before. I think in the last podcast, I would like to see Nate Diaz take him down. I would love that, because I know if you follow Nate Diaz, that he loves jiu-jitsu, but the thing is, he loves to stand and scrap. So I do think that too. I think that Nate Diaz will try to stand with him first. If he can't, maybe he'll take him down. But I believe that Nate Diaz, he has a lot of toughness, which leads me to think that if he knocks him out in the first round or second, that's great. But if the fight goes second or third, I think he'll be able to figure out that puzzle that is Edwards.
Wow, that's gonna be a good one, man. It's gonna be a good one. We'll see what happens come Saturday. There's 2 fights left on the main card, right? And then the next one we've got is Figueiredo. He's 21-1, going up against Brandon Moreno, 18-4. This is gonna be a good one. About who do you got?
Well, this one, I just want to start off with their last fight, man. Fireworks. Probably one of the best contenders. I just have to remind the people. If that wasn't contender of the year fight or whatever, it's gonna be one of them or something, because that fight was crazy. I don't see much changing up on this fight. I do have a prediction. I do have a winner for my prediction, but I do think it might be some similarities. Maybe Moreno will make some adjustments. Really, this is what I think. Really close meeting with these guys first time. Both these guys were rocked. The fight could have been stopped in the first fight by either one of these guys. I mean, both of these gentlemen had their moment in that last fight. We saw some takedowns, but none that really sticked. I mean, a majority of this fight was a kickboxing match. So every time somebody went to the ground, pretty much just right back up. Nobody could really keep anybody down. I see this happening again. They were both too skillful on the ground. They both didn't really want anything on the ground. They both kind of got up. So I think this fight, pretty much we're going to kind of might stick to that. Maybe there'll be a takedown or two, but I feel like this is going to be all out war. Figueiredo walked away with the decision the last time, but that was only because of that illegal shot that he took. That he gave Moreno. Figueiredo seemed just a little step ahead of Moreno in that first fight, but I think Moreno was close enough to where I believe he can pull this rematch off. I don't see Figueiredo changing. I don't. I don't know if it's because maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe he could win. Maybe he'll try to make some adjustments too. But I think Moreno's gonna go with this one. He's durable. Moreno. He does hit fast and hard. But it's just, but I also don't think he's gonna finish him. It's Figueiredo. I don't see a guy like that getting finished. I think Moreno will make the adjustments he needs in this fight. Moreno felt his power in the first round. Figueiredo tagged him with some good, clean shots. He knows what it takes now, and having survived that first fight, I believe Moreno will take the time to find counters, to find rhythm, to find shots enough to outscore him. So Figueiredo's tough. I don't see him getting finished, but I have this fight going the distance. I have it going the distance all 5 rounds. I say Moreno by split decision. I think Moreno's going to outpoint him. Moreno.
Wow. Yeah, this one was a close one for me, because I look at the records. I've kind of read up on them, and I'm like, I'm at a loss. I think anyone can win it. We talked about the shot and how the last fight went. So it's really up to grabs. This one can go either way. But you're taking Moreno in this fight, right? And you said you're taking him decision?
Decision, split decision. I think it's going to go all 5 rounds. I think Moreno's gonna make the adjustments that he needs to stay one step ahead on the scorecard. They're both fast, man. I don't think any of them has a speed advantage. They're both lightning fast. You blink, you miss it. But I got to give the edge to Moreno, even though Figueiredo would have probably won a decision had it not been for that illegal shot. I think Moreno's going to make those adjustments to know, hey, I'm going to figure out this guy. I saw something in Moreno that I liked. All due respect to Figueiredo, he's a warrior. If he wins, that's great for him. But I would have to say my prediction, I got to go with Moreno in this one. I see something in Moreno. Maybe he can make a little tweak in his game, and if he beats Figueiredo, he'll be the new flyweight champion, 125 pounds.
Woo, that's gonna be a good one. And then we jump into the main event, right? The one that everyone's gonna be waiting to see, and that's Adesanya. He's 20-1. He's fighting Vettori, right? 15-4-1. I'm thinking you're gonna go with Adesanya, but I'm not sure. Who do you got?
Well, I have a lot to say about these guys too, especially since they're the main event. You know, Israel Adesanya, he's gonna look to get back on the win column after his last run. You know, with Jan Blachowicz, he had moved up to light heavyweight, and it was unsuccessful. You know, he had tried to take the title, the light heavyweight title, but be a two-time champ. But now he's gonna, you know, move back down to middleweight, 185. He's taking on Vettori. It was supposed to be Robert Whittaker, but he said no. You know, I'll get a shot later. I'm pretty sure he's more than earned his shot. We might see him further down the line. We'll talk about him further down the line. But for right now, they said, yeah, you know, Vettori, he won his last 5 fights. You know, they met in the first, I think it was 2018. I want to say they had met the first time, and it was 2018 or 19, and Adesanya had won by decision, and he still holds true to that. You know, he believes that he's already beat him. You know, Figueiredo did take him down in that fight, but it wasn't enough. Adesanya outstruck him. But now Vettori says, hey, you know, I got him now, because especially now that Jan Blachowicz exposed that weakness, they might be heavier, 205, but now it's 185. Even though he moved down, I want to say Vettori is going to be stronger, you know. But I do think Israel is going to want to keep this fight on the feet. We know this, you know. He's going to want to avoid the takedowns. This guy, he's got amazing precision with his strikes. But I do believe Vettori's hungry enough to try to dethrone Adesanya. Vettori will most likely have a strength advantage. You know, he'll try to use his wrestling, try to get Adesanya down, either submit him or do some ground and pound. You know, Vettori's a wrestler. I think Vettori might try to stand with him, maybe just to find the takedown, just to find a rhythm. Once Vettori can secure that takedown, maybe he can control Adesanya. Adesanya's hard to finish, so I think he'll be skillful enough to maybe avoid some submissions here. But I think Vettori, he'll be able to use his strength and wrestling skills to keep Adesanya down on the mat. I think he'll have to control. I think Vettori will control Adesanya on the mat throughout the fight. I have to give this fight to Vettori. I think it's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be Vettori unanimous decision. I think Vettori is going to be able to keep Adesanya down. Adesanya knows it's coming, but I think Vettori is going to be stronger. And just because he's stronger doesn't mean anything, right? Skill, Adesanya does have good takedown skill. I've seen good wrestlers, great wrestlers try to take Adesanya down, and they can't do it. But, you know, Blachowicz was the first one, right? But now Vettori says, hey, the blueprint, you know, Michael Bisping, the former UFC champion, he said the blueprint has pretty much been laid out with that last fight. Against Blachowicz, you saw the chink in the armor. You saw the weakness in Israel. So I think Vettori going to use his hands, distraction, maybe touch him a little bit. But I think ultimately he's going to want to get Adesanya on the ground. I think my prediction, Vettori, unanimous decision.
Ooh,
I don't think he's going to finish.
So
I think he's going to finish it, but he can maybe control him.
So, guys, for those that are following us and love UFC, as I said, we've been kind of hyping it up. This is what Val's going to be doing every time there's a fight. So, you know, the next one I think is in July. So, you know, after this fight on Saturday, you know, we'll start, you know, going into, I think it's UFC. This is UFC 263, correct?
263.
Yeah.
So 264 going to be July.
Yeah. So, you know, and then what happens when this fight's done, you know, we come back and then we start talking about 264. So it's just going to continue. This is what we're going to be doing it all year round, right? In hopes that, you know, we can get people to come in and start some dialogue, and people can kind of listen to your predictions and just see how close when the fight ends, right? So this video will be uploaded now right as soon as we're done, man. And then I'm going to put up some polls myself on the 365. That's on the Twitter page and on our Facebook page. And there'll be polls up on these main events. You've heard whose Val's predictions are. You know, take a vote when you see it on there on either the Twitter page or the Facebook page. We'll vote on both, and let's see. And then we'll be back. Val and I will be back on Sunday evening. It'll be a little later. Usually we try to start off early, but we'll be Sunday evening a little later, and then we'll break down the fights. And we're gonna keep a record of Val's wins and losses, which I think is going to be really good here for us on the 365. So let me just recap. So in the first fight, you're going with Hill over Craig.
Yeah, Hill. I think Hill's gonna win TKO round 2.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got it right. And then you're going Maia over Muhammad.
Maia, what did I have here? Third round TKO. No. Decision. Yeah, decision. I think Demian Maia's gonna control him. That was Edwards Diaz. Maia decision. Sorry.
And no, it's good. And then you're going Diaz with okay. We'll see what happens. But you going Diaz over Edwards.
I think Diaz is gonna pull off a TKO in the third round. I think he's gonna find a target.
Woo. And then, of course, you're going to go Moreno over Figueiredo, and I think that's going to be a good one. And then the main event, you've got Vettori over Adesanya. These are going to be good fights. I just want to I know people can see, we can go back and replay, but I just want to make sure I had it right because, the fight is on Saturday. We're definitely going to be watching it. And then we'll be back Sunday evening, and Val, and we'll just kind of see what his record is. And we're going to hold the record, so you guys are going to be able to see Val's record as he makes these predictions. Yeah. We're going to have him on the 365. Because like I said, there's fighting all year round. We're going to stay up with this all year round. We're going to be talking about fights as they develop in the card. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully, and we talk about trying to bring somebody else on the podcast with us so they can kind of, a little bit more action, maybe bring somebody in that, can kind of debate Val and stuff. But you guys as fans that follow the 365, you can do it as well. You can comment on this, what you think, who you think will win. We're going to put the polls up tonight when we're done with this podcast, so you can go in there and vote and see who you think is going to win these 5 fights. And of course, don't forget the preliminary fights. We didn't really talk much about this on our podcast, but there are some good ones. We keep track of those two. We don't talk about them as much simply because it's just going to take a lot more time. But there are some up and coming fighters that on these preliminaries we also want to kind of stay in contact and talk about, because some of these guys, they're up and coming, probably within a year, they'll be fighting for a belt. We don't know.
Yeah, good.
Everybody. So it's not like we're not going to talk about the preliminary. We just don't put a lot of thought because it'll just take a little bit longer. But if we see a fight that was really good, on Sunday, we'll talk about that fight and we'll keep track of all these fighters and their records and what they're doing. We want to bring the best to you here on 365. So once again, Val's made his prediction. Val, is there anything else you want to say on these predictions before we move on?
No, I think that pretty much clears it. I broke them down, kind of told y'all why I think, they're going to win. And that's kind of how I saw it going. So we'll see, how the predictions go. We'll see when we'll come fight night. Yeah.
Yeah. When we come back on Sunday, can Val be 5-0? Will he be 5-0? We shall see.
I don't know. Yeah. But the next show we'll have a post. We'll have like a post, show podcast. I'll talk down the fights. I'll talk about what happened in the fights. If anybody got submitted, if anybody got knocked out, I'll say, I'll kind of break it down. If it goes to a decision, I'll talk about how, like what kind of went on. It'll pretty much just be a post show.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
Whatever topics you want.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I think things that we're doing, and of course, we're always looking to better things. And so it's just going to be exciting. And I'm glad you're on these podcasts. There's a lot of people that like it, and we're going to continue to push. I know we're moving a little slow here. We got a lot of things going, and we're moving with these podcasts. We've got 3 podcasts. There's 3 podcasts. It's 365. It talks about multiple sports, boxing as well, NFL, MLB. NBA, we got the playoffs also going on, and college. We do college softball. I mean, it's just a lot of things going on, and then we do Texas high school football. It's just we talk a lot. I mean, we do sports 24/7 here. But the UFC was really important because it's an up and coming sport. It's becoming very popular. A lot of people follow it, and we just wanted to be able to bring at least an hour and a half a week on what's going on here. And so I'm really glad that you're here and helping us build this podcast up. I think we are going to get there as we continue to do what we're doing. Let's talk a little bit about the July fight, the main event between Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier. Has there been any updates on this fight that's coming? I know we focused a lot on 263 on this fight that's coming Saturday, but have you heard anything that's been coming up with these two guys? Because this is going to be a battle come July as well.
Well, the only thing I've really heard is just Connor's looking good. Haven't really heard too much from Dustin. Dustin's pretty cool guy. He's not really too much one to kind of stir up kind of crazy, all kind of crazy, but Connor, he not really too much new for them.
But
I think
is this something? Connor's always talking, right? I mean,
yeah,
the fight comes. That's his style. He talks. And now
yeah.
he's not. We're not hearing a lot of stuff. Is this a sign that he's really taking this fight more seriously now? Because Connor's usually up there. He loves the media. The media loves him. That's his style. Talking crap, posting up the fight. People love that. And they follow him.
It gets a lot of eyes.
Right. We haven't seen to this point a lot of that the accustomed Conor McGregor style. Does that mean that possibly he's really taking this fight more serious now? And he's saying, hey, look, I really got to focus on this fight. This guy really did some damage to me in the second fight. And I think is he realizing, like, look, if I don't win this, and you talked about this on the podcast where you said, listen, he's not done if he doesn't win this fight, but it's definitely a setback. It's him not talking to the media and doing all this stuff. Is that a sign that he's maybe taking this fight a little bit more serious?
I'm sure it's definitely a sign. It shows a sign. Before this fight, before the Conor McGregor fight and Dustin rematch, I was reading some YouTube comments and people were so shocked that how respectful and right that Conor McGregor was. He was just more soft spoken, wasn't really crazy. And that's his style, of course. And he knows how to get the eyes. He knows how to get the money, right? But we saw a different Conor, and still, I do think that he was on the path there, but I think he did underestimate Dustin in that second round. I think he thought too much short of him. We saw what happened. I did hear that Dustin does expect Conor McGregor to use leg kicks within this third fight. So if Conor McGregor is thinking, hey, I'm going to maybe do some kickboxing, Dustin's going to be ready for those leg kicks. So this should maybe give Conor something to think about if he was thinking. Now, we don't know his game plan, but we do know he's got to do something different, because if Conor goes in there in that second fight in that same way, we know because Conor can't bet. My advice for Conor is I don't think he should bet on that right hand. He's got to have plan B. He's got to have plan C. If he can't knock him out, maybe do something, because finding a target is no problem. Conor found a target in that second rematch, that second fight. Conor won that first round and he was really roughing him up, but then Dustin just turned a whole 180 and got him out of there, right? He really found the holes in there, and he started, I think it was the leg kicks that Conor didn't check, but now we know Conor's probably going to check, and he's going to be a little more aware now. Maybe Conor will want to use the leg kicks as his offense, right? Well, Dustin says he'll be ready for him. That's
just what we're hearing, right? Yeah. And that's what we want to bring on. We want to bring on all the angles. This is what's being said. This is what we're hearing. This is what people are saying. They just bring it on up here. But I think, and you talked about this too, where one of the things that factors in is cardio. You talked about this, and I don't know if you still think this way, but you've been talking this podcast where you said, I don't think this is enough time. You would have suggested, hey, let's take a little bit more time so you can get your cardio, because I think he's not going to be able to get him down early, I don't think, and Dustin, I think, is the kind of guy that, hey man, I'll go the distance. I think you talked about kind of likes to get it over with real quick, you know what I'm saying? That's probably not going to happen in this fight. And so, his cardio is something that we're going to continue to talk about as we come every week on this podcast, hyping up that 264, because I think that, Val, that's going to play a big difference. How much cardio? I mean, you can work out all you want, but did you give yourself enough time, because I know it's only 5 fights, but it's a rough 5 rounds. It's rough after one round. I mean, you can get fatigue, your punches. So what kind of shape will he be in? I've been looking at a lot of his video that he puts out, and he looks in really good shape, and he looks like he's focused, at least more now than he was in fight 2. But again, you bring up a good point. Is it enough time? Did he give himself enough time? Because I think a part of him couldn't wait to get this third fight on because he lost, right?
Yeah,
so
he
you're hearing all of the talk, and can he come back? You're hearing it. Because you can't get away from the media. I mean, you can, but you're hearing it. It's out there. So did he rush back enough time to say, look, I want to end. I don't want to hear this no more. I can beat this guy. you know, and then Dustin saying, hey, look, I beat him once. I know if I beat him once, I can beat him again. So you're coming into the fight more confident now because you know you've done it before. You've beaten a legend, right? And like you said, if Conor loses this fight, he's not done. But boy, it's a setback. And Dustin just continues to explode up. So Conor wants to win this fight. He's got a lot at stake here too, just like Dustin does. I mean, he can't just, okay, I lose it, no big deal. He's got to come out and win this fight. It's going to be a good one to talk about as we continue to talk about this every week leading up to the July fight. So stay tuned to the 365 because it's going to be exciting. Conor, I love Conor McGregor and I want to see him fight. But I also have a newfound respect for Dustin Poirier because, you know, Dustin, like you said, he just comes in there and he does his thing, man. And you can't, Dustin's not a guy that you can hate. But people love Conor McGregor. I like Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to see him fight. So I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to continue to talk more about this as the weeks come and we get closer to the fight. Again, Val will be making his prediction. Who will he pick? Has he made his decision already? Or is he going to continue to just wait till we get closer to that Conor McGregor fight? But it's going to be very interesting, Val, to see who you're going to pick, Conor or Dustin. And I'm going to tell you something. In that fight, I'm going to make my first prediction as well on just the Conor and Dustin. So we'll see who we pick. Anything else, Val, that we can talk about? Any other updates that you have as far as UFC that you may be seeing that we can talk about here? We talk about a lot of things. Anything else that you want to discuss?
Well, Max Holloway is going to be fighting up and coming. I'm not sure exactly when. I know it's going to be soon. Brian Ortega is going to be fighting soon. These are some of the names we're probably going to want to be talking about, Holloway, he's going to fight Rodriguez. I think Dillashaw too is TJ Dillashaw. He was I'm pretty sure he's a former UFC champion. He's going to fight Corey Sandhagen coming up pretty soon. So we got a lot to be talking about those guys in the future.
That's awesome. Well, man, that's great, Val. This is a great one. We wanted to get this in. We were hoping we could have gotten it on Sunday. Unfortunately, we were unable to come on Sunday so we could get a full week of the predictions. We're not going to be able to do that, but we're going to put it up. They're going to have all day tomorrow and pretty much all day Saturday to take a vote. We're going to watch that fight. Then we'll be back on Sunday evening. It'll be later. We should come on at 2. Like I said, it ain't going to be at 2, but we're looking more like at 7:30 in the evening. So look for the podcast to be up. This one will be up tonight. So when you guys wake up on Friday morning, it'll be there. And then we'll be back on Sunday. The fight is a Saturday. And then we'll be back Sunday evening. So it'll be posted up ready for you guys when you wake up on Monday morning to be able to see Val's predictions. And then, of course, Val will, on that Sunday, he'll break down these fights and see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, we'll be back then on our regular schedule, which is Sunday. We may move it around a little bit, Val. We'll talk about that. But as of right now, we're still on Sundays. And then, of course, we'll start pumping up the 264. The main event there is Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier. That'll be a lot to talk about. We'll start talking about the main card and maybe even some of the preliminaries. We'll see how that card looks as it develops. But that's going to be a lot to talk about, too. And that's going to be very interesting. The Conor McGregor, the Dustin Poirier coming up in July. That's the third. And I believe it would be the final fight. Whoever wins is champion, right, as far as these 3 fights. Because I don't see another. Do you see another fight? Okay, let's just talk a little bit about that. So Dustin and Conor fight 3. Whoever wins, do you foresee these guys fighting again sometime down the future, or we're done and we're moving on to something different?
Is this closed? I would have to say it depends because these guys are the best in the division. Dustin even said it himself. He says that he thinks Conor was a more prestigious fight than the title. He said, hey, Conor, I think his exact words were Conor and I are the best guys. And, so Dustin in his mind believes that. And I think they very well could be too. I mean, there's a lot of good talent in there, right? But McGregor and Poirier, I mean, these guys are bad to the bone. Both of these guys can probably win with just enough prep time and just enough, right? So I feel, is it closed? It's a tough question. I feel like if McGregor, well, let's take a look here. If McGregor wins, he could go on, maybe fight for title, right? Dustin, he'll still be there if all he's gonna have to do is win in devastating fashion, and he'll be there again, title contention. Now let's rewind. Now if Dustin wins, he'll probably, the next thing for him is maybe a title shot. So if let's say if he does beat McGregor and then he does get a title shot, and then let's say McGregor gets set back, but what if McGregor gets a couple of fights in? Maybe he wins devastating fashion. Well, then now because that's what he would need. If McGregor loses, he's gonna need a couple of wins, maybe two, devastating. I mean, to get even back in the contention, because this is gonna set him back bad, right? I mean, and a lot of fighters are gonna get, if McGregor loses, they're gonna want to use that as a stepping stone. They're gonna say, hey, he's already lost 2 times. Let's get him now while he's down. They're gonna want to take advantage of that. So McGregor really needs to focus. He needs to win this fight. I'm sure McGregor knows what is at stake here.
Yeah,
but they could both might fight again. I say that with this trilogy, if whoever wins, I could see them coming back. But the loser would have to win a couple of times, and there could be a possibility of a 4th fight. There
could be a 4th fight somewhere down the road, right? Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, because I think Conor loses more than Dustin. If Conor loses, and we've talked about, it's the biggest setback for him. If Dustin loses, I don't think it's too much of a setback. He's already beat Conor once. He was supposed to beat him, I think so. Dustin, I don't think loses that much. I don't think he goes down as much. He can rise still back up. But I think if Conor loses, and it's been two fights that he lost to this opponent pretty much within a year, right? Yeah. So it's a bigger setback for Conor. I think Conor knows that, and I think that's why he's focused. But there's something, to take this fight, Conor must have felt something, that he had a pretty good chance to come back. He felt. For sure. I'm thinking he felt more like it was more on me. I mean, Dustin's a great fighter. We don't take nothing away from that. He won that fight fair and square, right? And he came in with a good strategy. But I think Conor looks at it and says, you know what, but a lot of that was me too. It wasn't like he just went me. I was unprepared. I didn't prepare very well for this fight. So a lot of this fight is on me. Yeah. It wasn't like I was prepared, really focused, and he beat me. Now, don't take anything away from Dustin, right? But Conor kind of thinks back and say, yeah, but I really didn't try. I really wasn't as focused as I should have been. I really wasn't prepared. So I think that's what he's saying. I'm going to take this a little bit more, a lot more serious. This is a guy that I really need to. So I think that's why he came back a little sooner, because he's like, a lot of it, I'm going to blame myself for not putting myself in a position to be prepared. Rightfully so. I didn't prepare myself right. He comes in, he beats me. I should have been defeated. But now we're going to fight 3. Let's see what happens. And let's see where these guys go. Where does the winner go, and where does the loser go? It's going to be very interesting. So we're going to be talking a lot about this UFC. There's a lot to talk about. Again, this Saturday, Adesanya, Vettori. This Saturday, we're looking forward to the main card. A lot of great fights to look at. I'm looking forward to Saturday, spending some time watching it, and then getting prepared for Sunday. So once again, this is a great podcast, Val. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for the research that you do to bring the information over to the 365. And then I'll see you back on Sunday. That's just 2 days away. Enjoy the fight. Again, we'll be back Sunday evening. The video will be uploaded on Monday. Val will look at his record. It's his first prediction that he's doing here on the 365, and then he'll break down the main events. And we may talk a little bit about the preliminaries. But once again, Val, thank you for coming on. I had a great time. You had your predictions. Beware that also, as this video gets uploaded tonight to our YouTube channel, Coast to Coast Sports, and then going on to our Facebook and Twitter page, 365 Sports Unlimited. We're also going to be putting up polls of the 5 fights that we talked about, so that you guys, the fans, and those guys that follow us here on the 365 can also vote and see what you guys think, as well as what Val thought. So Val, as we always do here on the 365, man, I'm going to give you the final word. Anything you want to say before this fight takes place on Saturday?
Yeah, no, I'm having real fun with this. Yeah, it's been a great time. These fights, I love bringing these fights. I love talking about the fights, and I think that this is going to be a really good show. This pay-per-view is going to be really awesome. I will bring y'all the post-fight, news next time. So on Sunday, we'll kick it off on Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, it'll be late Sunday. So when you wake up on Monday, when you wake up at 5 in the morning or 8 in the morning, right, you'll just tune in to the 365, man. Look at our YouTube if you want to check out the video. I also share them over on the Facebook, and then we'll also, Val, be putting up the. So as we put on our pages, we're gonna keep track of Val's predictions, right? So he goes 5-0, it's 5-0, and it's something that we're just gonna be doing for every pay-per-view. But I think it's gonna be exciting. Hopefully somebody will come in and want to challenge you. I'm thrilled. I'm happy to have you on because I love the information and the knowledge that you bring. I think it's really, really good. And I've talked to some people that think that the thing that you're doing here, I say, man, he's got some knowledge. People that don't even know you, they just see you on here and they tell me, hey, man, that guy you got there on the UFC, he kind of really knows his stuff. And so I really appreciate it because it does take some time out of your schedule. You got to sit down there and really research this. And I know you like it, but you still got to take some time in there to kind of put your notes together and bring the best knowledge that you can. So I appreciate that. And hopefully we'll continue to grow, man, as we keep doing this. But we're in it for the whole year to talk about fights as they develop. And so, Val, thank you very much once again for coming on the 365 on this Thursday evening. Have a great night, great day tomorrow, Val, and I'll see you on Sunday.
For sure. See you Sunday. Yeah.
All right, brother. Enjoy the fight.
Yeah, you too.